Right, how are you doing? He's hoping that all is well with you. Mambo Vipi from every part of the world you are watching us. You are right on time for your favorite talk show, In Focus. And my name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Now, on the program, as you've seen on our social media networks, hashtag InFocusRW, you've already sort of noticed or known what we'll be talking about. For those who are just joining us right now, our conversation is centering on the issue of feminism. Of course, in line with the Women's Month, we want to shed some light on this particular issue of feminism and get to understand why most people see feminism as equivalent to hate towards men. We want just to break the ice on the program and get to put things in perspective on this particular matter. Of course, it's a conversation that has gone viral. We have this going on, and this is the question that we had asked you. Why is it that some people see feminism as equal to hate towards men? And all you need to do is simply add the hashtag InFocusRW while tweeting, and we'll be able to get in touch with you. We have people who have already been sending in their views concerning this. We have Magnus, who said, if you come to study it well, feminism does not entirely promote gender equality. It has a biased goal to promote women, not men and women. Feminism is an extremism approach to gender equality. This is his thought, particularly concerning this particular issue. And we have another one here from Mugabo Robert, who actually says, I request a detailed description of this vibrant topic across the world. I mean feminism, if possible, before the discussion. It would shed some light to many people here. Definitely, this is where we're going to start from. And let me bring on board our panelists on the show today. We have Sylvie Nsanga. Sylvie is actually a feminist herself, and she'll be telling us her point of view concerning this particular issue. Thank you for joining us on the program, Sylvie.
Thank you.
Also with us is none other than Clement Kirenga, who's from Ruamrek. Thank you for joining us, Clement. It would be nice getting your perspective from a male perspective on this particular issue. Thank you for joining us on the show. Also with us is another feminist called Annette Mukiga. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, we are apologizing for not being able to have Nderito Njoka, who is a Kenyan, heading an organization that promotes the interests of men called Maendeleo ya Wanaume from Kenya. But if we are able to, we'll be able to have him there. But also joining us live on Skype is none other than Judikaela Irakoze. Judikaela, great to see you again.
Me too.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Right, so I want us to kick off this conversation from this question from Mugabo, who wants to get a clear perspective or understanding of what feminism is. And I want to start with Sylvie. What is your description or definition of an ideal feminist? A feminist is a person who does what? Let's start from there.
Thank you very much, Ananga, for having me. I'll start by defining gender equality, which refer to equal rights, equal opportunities and responsibility. And feminism is just a movement which advocates for equal rights.
Equal rights of both men and women.
And recognize that women have been oppressed for so many years, and studies have shown that. I will not really try to convince people about that. And we seek really to transform social and cultural norms which affect women's rights.
Right. So the underlining word here is equal rights, men and women.
Yes.
How about you, Kirenga? I mean, what is your understanding of feminism?
I think feminism, actually with S, feminisms, I think the word originated from France. The word feminism, which was just simply a medical term to describe feminization of a body, of a male body, but also at the same time describing a masculine, a woman with masculine traits. And that was around 19th century and spread to the US and UK and was simply understood as women's movements that are assertive, that wanted women to be unique. But for me, I think it's just simply a movement, like my colleague said, that realize that and acknowledge that there are gender inequalities and inequities, and with a commitment to dismantle those constructions that were created since a long time ago,
All right.
and committed to really build something towards gender equality.
I'll be happy to dig a deeper on that word dismantle, but in the course of the program. Dismantle in which way? We'll try and understand that in the course of the program. Annette, how about you? When you hear feminism, as a feminist, what do you stand for? What does an ideal feminist stand for?
For me, it's an ideology, and it's around someone believing that there are inequalities around social, political, and economic between the sexes. And I think someone should even go further and take action, that it doesn't stop with believing just, or
You have to take
acknowledging
action.
that you should also take action to change the status quo.
Right.
Yeah.
How about Judy Kyle? I mean, you've been listening to their definition of feminism. Judy Kyle, I'm happy to hear from you on your ideal, the ideal elements, the things that a feminist stands for. What are they?
So much, Eugene. Feminism for me is a movement to end sexism. And sexism is promoted by patriarchy. So feminism is a movement to end sexism, and the work happened by challenging patriarchy. So feminism for me does not focus on gender equality, but it focuses more on gender equity. So when we talk about feminism as a movement to end sexism, one of the guests talked about the movement coming from the West, which is something some of the time I do not agree with, because when we try to portray a movement to end sexism or a movement to challenge patriarchy as a Western thing, it takes away that even in Africa there were women who were challenging patriarchy. So even though they didn't get their stories out there as the mainstream feminism, we got to see through white women, because white women were the women who were accessing media. It doesn't change the fact that there were women in Africa, there were women in some part of the world we have never heard of who were challenging patriarchy. So feminism for me is a movement to end sexism.
Right.
And before we get to equal rights,
yes,
we have to end sexism.
Right.
So
yes, go ahead,
Sorry.
go ahead.
So as some of the guests said, that feminism is gender equality. For me, feminism is challenging, dismantling patriarchy for gender equity. Then gender equality comes.
So first, gender equity. Thank you, Judy Kyle. Stay with us because we still need you to be part of this conversation.
Maybe what Kaila misunderstood,
Yes,
as when I say the historical background where the word feminism came from, I didn't describe that. I mean the action, the movement, the word itself. I just say the origin of the word, because African societies have been oral traditional society. They never wrote the word. They never pronounced it, but there were, of course, I agree with her, so many feminists in Africa and in Rwanda. I'll give examples, so many examples in Africa and in Rwanda who are feminists, but the word itself, where it came from, to be called feminism.
right. Let's move away from the word, because we have the word and we have what we already see happening today, and probably that is where the bone of contention is, or where the issues are. And earlier on, you all spoke about the issue of dismantling the issue of bringing up equity and then gender equality and dismantling the patriarchal societies. And some people have equated that movement that aims at dismantling the status quo as being extreme, in a way that it has caused some people to actually frame it in a way that it is anti-men. That feminism is actually a movement that is out to say, you know what, we are here against you. This is what many people actually see out there. Sylvie, I want to read your thoughts on this particular issue. Is this how it should be?
Thank you, Eugene. Your first question was clear, what was feminism? And after we have explained, we just realized that feminism, it's promoting equality. It's really digging and saying people have right to the same opportunities. And many people actually do that, but they don't recognize that they are feminists. So feminists, it's whoever really realized that there is a problem, a gender problem, and really, as Annette said, does not stand and say, let's address this issue. That person is already a feminist, even though the person does not know.
Right.
And when we say we are really dismantling, as you were asking, we are really seeing in our everyday life the inequalities which are there, in our culture, in our professional jobs, everywhere, and then we are taking steps to address them. Culturally, I don't know if you want me to go by some examples. If we are talking about equality, I know I've been having some message about dowry and everything. Look at our culture. Who has been giving dowry? It's the man, isn't it? Why women don't give dowry? If you see the meaning of dowry in the culture, it was a gift coming from one family to another. And the gift was something really spontaneous, something you have. But the way the meaning have changed, it's kind of dowry is an obligatory gift which the family should give. So as feminists, when we see back, we realize that it's not really fair either for men and women. We try to challenge it. Why women were not giving dowry? We're not giving dowry to the family of the... So as a feminist, I don't agree with the dowry because you said, let's say the examples we are living in. Because for me, it's a condition to have a woman you love. Definitely, for me as a feminist, I see it as an oppression.
It's an oppression. As you come in, Annette, I know you want to come in, but let me go quickly and check here very quickly, just something interesting, because at the end of it all, Judicaela, I know you're still with us, but importantly, this question was actually in line with what we've seen people actually term as extreme feminism, you know, pushing matters to the extreme. And if we can have Judicaela on the screen so that we can be able to have her help us respond to this. This particular tweet was in line with the thread that you had made, Judicaela, that this is the last time I'm saying this. Men are trash is a system critique, not an individual critique. We don't care if the men in your life are good men. It doesn't change the fact that men as a system are oppressors. You all should fix your fragile masculinity. Judicaela, if you're still there with us, I want to read your thoughts. Try to help us expound on this, because you have come under fire as a feminist.
And I really want to speak.
You want to do what?
And I really want to explain.
Yes. Can you help us explain this? Because there's a feeling that feminism is all anti-men. I mean, looking at what you posted there.
No, it is not. First of all, I want to speak what, I don't know if it's Sylvie, what she just said.
Yes.
On dowry. She forgot to mention that marriage long ago was an arrangement between families. And so when families were paying dowry, it was a sign that the ownership of a woman is being transferred from a father to the husband, which means women back then were a private property. So when they pay dowry, for just a sign, I'm giving you the property I was owning as a father, I'm giving to you. That's why when we talk about marriage as an institution aggressive to women, we refer to all those traditions that were transferred that we do not really question. So back to feminism. One thing you must understand, when we talk about patriarchy as a system, we really want men to understand that it has nothing to do with individuals. Of course, individuals make a system, but patriarchy as a system, it will allege all men. That's a fact you cannot deny. Being a man gives privileges in a word. So, men are trash is not my hashtag, but I have done my homework, my research, and I'm going to extend. So, when I first heard of men are trash, it was on Twitter. I was so confused. I grew up with such men that I was questioning why women were using that trash. So then, because I've learned one thing, all women relate to each other. So when there is something a woman is saying that I don't understand, I prefer to study. So I did my research, which brought me to South Africa. Trust is a hashtag that started in South Africa after women were being killed. So there is one case that triggered the whole movement. It was a girl who was killed by her boyfriend, and then the boyfriend acted surprised. So when they found the body of Arapo, South African women were angry. So that they are dying. And they are dying in a system that keeps us silent. Those were angry women started hashtag. So me, when I started the hashtag and realized that the women were a system that makes men oppress women at any cost, a system that turns rapists and keep them safe while women are abused. So that hashtag was an angry sound of women. So does the name create controversy? Yes. But when I started the hashtag and its founder, what the founder was trying to say, according to her, trying to say men in this system are oppressing women, and that system needs to be abolished, which means toxic masculinity needs to be destroyed and erase men who are responsible. So, back to feminism, people saying that it's called hate. That's a question you shouldn't even ask me.
Right.
Misandry, wait a second.
Yes.
Misandry and feminism are two different things. As I said, feminism is a movement to end sexism. And when we want to end sexism, we go to the root of what causes sexism. It's patriarchy.
It's patriarchy.
It's men.
Yes.
Men, listen a second. I'm not done.
Yes,
Men
yes,
are the
yes, yes, go ahead.
So when I say that I'm a radical feminist, radical simply means grasping things from the root. So what people have been trying to say by calling it hate, it's anger. Yes, women are angry. Look at Me Too, the Me Too movement. But because we live in a society that has demonized anger, people call it hate. But decolonization, revolution, changed from a place of anger. Men are angry that even in the 21st century, we have to be oppressed. We have to still fight for access, equal opportunities. That's anger. It's not hate. It's not hate men.
So it's anger, it's not hate, Judikaela.
Yes.
Right, perfect. Let me now bring back our panelists right here in the studio, and I want to hear from you, Kireng. I mean, when you hear this hashtag men are trash and saying that men as a system are actually a problem to equality and dealing with this issue, what does it make you feel as a man?
Well, I think calling men a system is to some extent right, fair.
What about trash?
But trash perhaps is going too far, and actually I think it's a better approach not to attack men when you're trying to dismantle patriarchy and negative masculinities. There's a better way perhaps to do it, but I agree that men have built a system. Not men actually, societies have built patriarchy system, the negative masculinity for quite a long time. And what men react to is actually the fact that they don't realize and reflect on their privileges that they've had for quite some time. And when they are told to dismantle their system, they don't see their system. They don't realize and reflect on the negative masculinities. They don't realize that they've been having these privileges for quite some time. So many writers, Macintosh and others, list as many as 160 plus privileges that men have been having for a long time. So if you touch them, they don't even realize that they have them. But radical feminists, because there are so many groups of feminists, they are liberal, they are socialist, Marxist, and radical feminists. And that's their approach, perhaps to call it like that. But it's debatable whether that works or not. So for us, engaging men in a positive way to support gender equality and women empowerment and look at their privileges and reflect and challenge them is a better way to go.
And not calling them trash.
Yeah.
Annette, Judikaela says that she's a radical feminist and she's unapologetic for that. I want you to talk to me about, I mean, which category are you? Because you spoke of different categories. Are you the liberal, the radical? Which one are you?
I'm also radical.
You're also radical.
And very unapologetic about it. But I don't call men trash because feminism as a movement doesn't attack individual men. It doesn't attack individual women who don't also believe in feminism.
But she says system, men as a system.
Not men as a system. I also don't like that word.
You don't like that word?
Yeah, we are attacking patriarchy, which is a system that promotes male dominancy or male supremacy.
Judikaela doesn't agree. Let's see. Yes, jump in, Judikaela.
No.
Yes.
What is patriarchy? To be honest, when you say, we have to be honest, patriarchy exists today because men sustain it. Let's be honest. So when there is oppressors,
yes,
but we still can't get away from the fact that women are also
right.
So listen, I don't deny that patriarchy also oppresses men, because listen, that's how system works. Even in the capitalist system, capitalist government. But the thing is, even though patriarchy oppress men, you are not going to say all lives matter. No, we have first to focus on the oppressed, which are women, and then focus on how patriarchy turns an oppressed woman or turns an oppressed man. So patriarchy as a system is sustained by men first, then second by women, because women have developed coping mechanisms to exist in a patriarchal society. That's how we have women. Example, women who tell you that's how things are going to always be boys, only because to stay in a domestic abuse. But that doesn't change the fact that patriarchy is upheld by men, because if we check statistics in states, men hold most of economic power, social power, education power, cultural power. Men. So let's be honest, let's not go around. If today men decide to dismantle patriarchy, it's gonna be done.
Right, perfect. So we have to we can't unmarry men from patriarchy. It's one and the same thing. This is what Judikaela says.
Yeah, but there are also sometimes victims. And also women are sometimes gatekeepers of patriarchy. So we have to recognize that and try to balance the approach that we use.
Yeah. Right. Sylvie,
I just wanted to comment on the radical
feminism. Are you a radical or you a liberal?
I want first to give Judikaela credit and then explain. When she says men are trash and talking about a movement, not men, I may agree with her. Because the radical, they believe that women have been oppressed. And who oppressed them is the men. So it's clear, if men oppressed the women, so we should really address it the way it is.
But Kirenga says that approach, it's debatable whether it works or not.
There is different movements
Yes.
in feminism, and if you see at the end of all of them, they are promoting equality. All of them,
Yeah.
though they take different approach. If the radical says men are oppressor, women have been oppressed, then there is some solutions for each. It's where you see, for example, because they said, okay, because women have been left behind for so long, let's take some, address it by some positive discriminatory policies. For example, there are few women in sciences, let's take
Promote
women,
STEM.
even if they have a low grade, and we try to increase their capacity. Either they give them 1 year gap, but they say, let's take women. Those are positive discriminatory policies which come to address those specific issues of women being oppressed. There is the socialist which comes and say, no, the problem is not the men, is not the women, but the society, the patriarchy, all that. Let's address this, let's fix this, let's make sure that we bring men and women together, and then we address the system. So
Right.
when Judith Kyle said men are trash, and she tried to compare it to the movement, I may agree, but if she tries to say men are trash, I will not agree with her.
And I think just
Oh, by the way,
just to jump in on the
Let's hear
trash
from Kirenga first. Yes.
I think that's what I said. I think calling men trash is going too far. Perhaps to some extent you have a point. But again, we're talking about a system. And a system means structures, means people. There are men and women, institutions who have been built for a long time. And we forget that there are men who are good men who want to change things, who actually want to say, I don't want those privileges. Please, who believe in power and agency of women, who believe that women can also do it. Women have rights. So if you trash all of them, I think
you bring a problem.
it's not fair.
There's something, Judith, I'm going to bring you, but let's first narrow down on this particular issue that Sylvie raised or brought here. Positive, discriminatory actions,
Policies, strategies, action.
which she mentioned. But today I hear of some men say that this is actually what someone was actually tweeting here and say that feminism is actually pushing for more women just because they are women to get these positions, and we have some men who have already started complaining. Why is it that we are having them being given this position just because they are women and not because they can actually do that job? If you go to the marks, you find that the men have to actually work extra hard to be able to get a certain grade, to be able to qualify, but a lady has certain grades which allows them to actually go there. We have several people actually who are jumping up and down and feeling jittery about this. I want to take your thoughts on this as a man, on how can we understand this as a way of bringing equality when some people say that it is actually more favoring one side and leaving out the other, the boy child.
Like I said before, Anangwe, I think that where you take it from is actually the fact that those who fight against women's rights or quotas or affirmative action are those people who don't realize that men have been having these privileges for quite some time. And when you say you're going to promote women's rights, they think you are touching on men's rights. But that's not true. By promoting women does not mean you're empowering, disempowering men. So that's, I think, a misunderstanding. But men also have to really come out, read a lot, realize that, oh, this is a privilege given to me. Maybe come out and realize how women have been left behind. Another thing is to base on evidence, research that shows that women have been left behind in terms of numbers. So if you look at numbers, then you realize that, okay, men have been somewhere, then we need to work on women's rights. We need to empower them. That's where quotas come. And this is the challenge, big challenge, managing the evidence.
Yes.
But the fact that we have, countries have gender monitoring offices or structures, this is their role. To monitor if the boys and men need to be empowered. There's evidence. There should be evidence that they've been left behind in a certain sector, for instance.
Right.
And they find out.
They find out. And because the reason why I ask this question is it is really risky to fix a problem and create another problem while at it. The issue here is that same issue that I've raised, that yes, we want to raise or bring the women who have been left behind for a long time. And some people actually question this and say, aren't we going to create another problem in the near future where we'll start saying we have now more women than men instead of having equal rights. How do we deal with this situation? Where do we draw the line? Where do we say now we are equal? Is equality what we're looking for, or is equity what are we looking for here?
I think Chirenga has touched on it somehow in relation to how he was talking about a long time that has passed when women were not at par with the men, and that we need to be given a chance to be able to attain where the men are. And research and evidence can show where men, when women are catching up or not, and if men are having gaps or something like that. And as he has said also, it's not about taking men's rights or taking men's power. We are born with our power. We are born with our rights. So it's affirming those rights which have been discriminated and abused for a long time. And for centuries, that problem can't be addressed in a very short time.
It can be addressed in a short time. Judy Kaila, I mean, let me bring you here. On the same, but also trying to understand your line of thought, I'm interested in understanding where you come from as far as these thoughts that you have. Mostly, in many cases, from statements that you've actually made, even public, you sort of always say if it's an incident where a man is accused of oppressing a woman, alleged actually, you would always actually stand by the woman, and it is actually the man is guilty until proven innocent. This is the approach you take in your line, is it? You can actually accept or deny and explain further.
Well, I said that how I roll is if a man is accused of something, I side with the woman.
You stand with the woman
when I'm wrong.
Yes.
Because the system will always favorize men unless we change how the system is. So what was your question again?
Yes, that's exactly what you've answered. That I want to understand this approach, what it seeks to aim or to achieve when you have feminists who feel or believe in your line of thought that the woman is the one who you need to stand for in a case like that you have talked about, that man is actually guilty until he is proven innocent. You'll first believe on the side of the woman until that man is actually proven innocent. I mean, I want to understand how that affects or helps this struggle that the feminists are out for.
Listen, Jen, even with my fellow guests, one thing that we ignore is that patriarchy works through socialization. So the moment we walk into this world, we found systems, institutions, people already set with norms and how we should think and how we should operate. So which means through socialization, I was taught to behave like a woman that a patriarchal society accepts. So when I grow up and started questioning systems, I think that's how a feminist is born. When you start wondering why are systems like this? Why are institutions like this? Why am I raised to feel like I'm not home in my father's home, that I have to be chosen and given a home by another man? Why am I raised to always be asked about marriage or kids? What, you know, all that societal pressure that we get as women, and you start questioning systems and institutions, you realize that as women, we are also raised to internalize sexism. So not only patriarchy oppressors, also women oppress themselves, because through how we are raised, we become very hard on ourselves, try to fit in how we should be according to society. And the moment it's not that way, patriarchy claps back. That's why I think even patriarchy hates feminists, because feminists are questioning systems. Patriarchy doesn't like that. Patriarchy isn't someone who wants to change things as they are. And men in power will not like that we want to abolish institutions that have been abusing women. That's why they clap back and they call us hateful and they call us all the names. But it's fine, because in the history of the world, there was no revolution without attacking the revolution narrative. There was no decolonization without giving name to heroes like Thomas Sankara, who set us free. So that isn't my issue.
Right.
So my approach comes from a point that feminism up to now has been chit-chatting with patriarchy.
Okay.
You're not trying to defend women's rights, but not defend men. Because the moment you challenge patriarchy, you have to defend men. They have to feel like they are shaken. So it has been about chit-chatting. So when I say that I'm a radical feminist, I'm not afraid to challenge the system. I'm not afraid. If I come to a system, I challenge the system until I get to the root of it. And not the root of the system, but many people have been abusing that system.
Right. Loud and clear, Judikaela, got you. Now it's time, let's just quickly look at what we have on our social media platforms. Of course, all you need to do is simply add the hashtag InFocusRW, and of course we will be able to read some of your tweets right here. We have Mugabo on Twitter who says, the women that validate men are trash. Don't they have fathers, brothers, sons? Aren't they, by extension, fighting their own? I want to hear this. I mean, you said, someone here said, was it you that you actually agree if it is the system, you agree?
Yeah, I think
it was you, Sylvie.
Yes, it was me. I was trying to explain. I don't think Judikaela was calling men trash, but the movement was calling the system. The men have been in oppressing women. And I think this question we have really responded.
So if today someone went on Twitter and said women are trash, I mean, what would be the sort of reaction that you'd expect to see out there?
As a feminist, of course, I would question that. So I would not agree that women are trash. I will try to see why is this person calling women trash. I think here Judikaela is not talking about men as because I can see this, someone is asking if they have fathers or something
and attacking their own.
She's not addressing that in the same
individuals.
And
even Eugene.
Yes.
I told you that I did my research on men are trash because it's not my movement.
It's a
and
South
trust me, when I
African
would have created it, I would have used another approach. Because I know how my people think, and I would have preferred to get into the root of the issue.
How do your people think, Judikaela? What do you mean when you say, I know how my people think?
That's for another day.
That's for another day.
Men are trash.
Right.
So, that's why when we said that men are trash, it's a system critique. It's really a system critique. It's not all individuals. We are now walking around trying to figure out the good men out there. Because at the end of the day, men walk around with labels, say, I'm a good man. But I, as a woman, I am even afraid to be with the men late at night because of how they aggress me. So because they don't walk around with labels, like we are good men, we weren't in the owner of the movement was not trying to go by it words.
I think I've got you, Judikaela. Loud and clear. I've got you. Let's try to move just because of time. Another one from Rudakemwa Nikki says, what feminism is the call for women and men to be treated equally. What feminism is not saying women are better than men and men don't deserve the attention women do. Do you agree with this, Bonakirenga?
Yeah, to some extent. I think they try to say what feminism is
and what it is not.
What it is not. But the list of what it is not is actually very long. And this is what I said in the beginning. It's feminisms with S. Because I don't even think that all the women have the same issues.
Right.
Because, and this is what happened in post-colonial feminism,
Yes.
when they started questioning the ethnocentrism
Yes.
of the mainstream
Right.
feminists, actually trying to say, because let me give an example. If we say all men are trash and all women are vulnerable,
Right.
There's a rural woman in the rural area, Ramagana, for instance. There's a rural woman in Ramagana. There's another rural woman in Ramagana who is living with the disability.
Right.
Do they have the same issues? So this is why feminism is quite complex, and so if you generalize, I think we lose a point.
You lose the
so we
point.
need analysis. We need to not to generalize all men, because we have men champions, he for she. We have President Kagame. We have the Prime Minister of Sweden. I mean, these are. I don't think these are trash. I don't think I'm trash.
Right. Neither do I. We have Princess from North on Twitter who says, if we start referring to men with insults like trash, then we won't get on the table together to fix issues of gender inequality. These issues actually distance men from being part of the problem solving. I think that one is loud and clear. We have Elizabeth right here who says that the women that validate, of course, that's a response. And men who rape, harass, oppress women, don't they have mothers, sisters, daughters, and are, by extension, abusing their own? What a comeback. Yes, yes. Yes, go ahead, Judikaila. I can hear you.
I really think you are giving a focus on men and trash. While we both know it's systematic. That's why whenever you have tweets about it, they were not referring to each words. Of course, we have great men, great responsible allies. As I said, Thomas Sankara, the excellent president of Rwanda. We have responsible allies who are doing great work. But still, the system privileges them because they are men. And that's a fact. And she talked about, there is that tweet of Nikki. Can you go back to it?
Right. We'll have to spend more time trying to scroll back. I mean, there are so many.
Anangwe,
yes, yes.
For me, I don't
we'll come back to you, Judikaila.
believe in this attachment, as in you can't understand feminism or women's rights because you don't have a mother, a sister, or a wife or something like that. It's about human beings. I don't have to have a sister or a brother for my human rights to be respected. We want people to understand women's rights are human rights. We are tired of that discrimination, which is comes from patriarchy as a system, and that's what we want to dismantle. That's it. We are not against fathers and brothers and sons.
And again, I also want to say something she said. She calls men who can be described as feminists, calls them allies.
Yes.
I don't agree with her, because I'm a feminist. I'm not an ally. I'm not doing it for someone.
Just to back them up.
I'm doing it because I think that's the right thing to do. So if you call me an ally, there should be ownership. And this is what the foreign minister of Sweden said so many things she said. She said, we should own it. We, meaning even men. So if you call me an ally, you're actually discriminating me.
Yes.
Because I'm a feminist. I'm born, in a family of so many men, and I don't need a sister to know that. I need to understand that. No, it's about human rights. It's about resources. It's about representativity. It's about rights. So those are actually three hours that make core mandate of Swedish feminist foreign policy. And if you look at it critically, then so many men are doing good things not because they're doing it for sisters or mother. They're doing it because
it should not be seen as men coming to back this group of people who are fighting for something.
Listen, Eugene.
Yes.
I'm going to disagree. Of course, we're not supposed to both agree. But when it's about race, gender, or economic oppression, I tend to believe that the privileged should not own the mainstream, which means if a white person can come today and try to be the face of Black Lives Matter, I won't listen. because a white person benefits from white supremacy.
Right, but Judy Kaila, what Kirenga says, Judy Kaila, I need you to listen to me because we'll be able to control this conversation because we also don't have much time to go. What he's saying here is, when you say allies, then you mean that there is actually something of an us against them going on, and then you have people who are coming to back you up because you are in a fight against certain people, so they qualify to be called allies.
That's where I'm trying to get.
Yes.
Because for me, feminism is a movement to end sexism. And to end sexism, you have to challenge patriarchy. And men benefit from patriarchy. At the end of the day, the system still privileges them. So for me, responsible allies are men who believe they have privileges. And because they are men, they are going to have privileges that won't have. But they are ready to unlearn their privileges and fight for women. And for me, also feminist is a lived experience. Cannot talk about women's oppression without living it. Just as cannot talk about racial oppression if you have not lived it. So I understand men are coming out there fighting for us, but I have to walk the shoes of being a woman to understand the oppression and really speak for it. So I call them responsible allies because they are ready to listen to men who are living the oppression and try to unlearn their people, fight for them. Other thing he talks about is feminism being complex. Listen, let's now focus on theories of feminism.
Right.
Feminism is practical. It's a lifestyle. Yes, we have people who have different theories, name our experience, but even women who are challenging patriarchy,
I want to understand.
Are feminine.
Right. Thank you.
I want to understand from Judika. Is she saying that men can't be feminists?
She just said it's for you to be a feminist. It's important that you have gone through
lived experience.
You have lived the experience. Okay. I mean, do you agree with this?
I don't agree.
So someone else who hasn't lived the experience cannot be able to understand how to actually deal with the issues or the goal that feminists want to achieve.
No, I agree with many things Judika said, but I don't agree her saying that men can't be feminists. We should put them in the box of allies, because for me, I believe that a feminist is whoever, a man or a woman, who really believe that there is a problem and we should fix it. Women have been undermined, women have been oppressed, now we have to change the status. We have to change our structures. We have to sit on the same table and respond to this problem. I don't know why she insists to say that men can't be feminists.
All right. Annette,
I think,
as we start preparing to leave,
I think in the feminist movement, we are also allowed to be different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. She can believe what she believes, and Sylvie can believe what she believes. That's the beauty of the movement.
Right.
Yeah. That our differences can be our strength.
Right. Your differences can be your strength. And I want us to take a look at the role of feminism in gender equality, in bringing up equality, because Kirenga mentioned the issue of the impact of the extreme feminism and what damage it can cause in the whole ball game of actually bringing in equality. I need you to talk to me about what feminists should not do, that if they do, would actually hamper the journey to equality. Judikaila says it's about equity. But what of those who want to look at it from the equality perspective?
I think for us, for me, feminism is about feminist analysis and feminist practice. That each situation, each issue you meet, you have to have a feminist eye or ear to be able to analyze what is the women's narrative, what are women's representation, how are they being talked about.
So
what
it's not
is the
about
issue?
women and men, it's just supposed to be women.
Yeah.
And
then also
yes.
see, of course, the complexities around the patriarchy system. So it doesn't end with just saying...
Yeah, and just to add in, because you need to avoid, because what feminists are fighting for, or fighting against, is domination. And if you want to fight through domination again, then
Doesn't
you're
work.
not making any difference. Because if it starts from, I mean, feminism is very simple, as you say, it's very practical, but you have to live it. You have to, even when you are fighting for feminism, you need to be a real feminist. Let me just show you a very simple example.
Right.
Even a teacher in a classroom.
Yes.
If your teacher
Yes.
comes to the classroom
Yes.
believing that they are the only sources of knowledge,
Yes.
you are dominating students. You also have to believe that you also need to listen to students. You need to make sure that you have a kind of a movement in a class where students support one another, where you listen to them, because that's transformational more than, and that's called feminist pedagogy. So if you're a feminist, you need to live with it. You need to live it. You need to always look at
practice.
everything you do through domination. I mean, you need to avoid the domination.
You avoid domination. You
Yes.
can't fight domination by...
Exactly.
By
This is
dominating.
your approach. Let's read this quickly and then we bring back Judy Kaila and hear from Sylvie. Nasra, African Nash at African Nash says, I just spent 5 days with 5 East African feminists and I got a better and clearer meaning of feminism. Before that, the approach has been different from woman to woman and had not taught me anything. We mostly speak from a point of no information. Nasra, it would be really nice if you created a thread on what you really learned so that many of us can also be able to learn from you. Rondon Goal Digger says, let me just go back to that particular tweet. We'll just be able to refresh it and be able to see it come through. As we do that, it's important to hear from you, Judy Kaila. What is your thought on that? I mean, you don't fight dominance by wanting to be dominant because it creates friction. This is what Kirenga says.
Well, as I said, because we challenge patriarchy, patriarchy feels that women wanting emancipation, I mean being liberated socially, economically, politically, they feel like we are going to impose our domination.
Right.
This is not what feminism is about.
Right.
What we want by destroying male dominance is gender equity. Because gender equity can exist with male dominance, but because patriarchy exists as a system, that shows there has to be one who dominates and the person who's being dominated. It feels like if the man is not dominating anymore, the woman is going to dominate. This is not the case. But those are patriarchal narratives. When they say the head of the house, as if 2 people cannot manage a house, all those kind of narratives, that really shows it's the fear that reigns in patriarchy as a system. If we give women power, aren't they going to dominate? No, that's not what we are about. We are about fair treatment of women and women by accessing equal opportunities, equal things, regardless of their gender. That's what we are about. It has nothing to do with dominance.
Right. Nothing to do
But
with dominance.
again, patriarchy is afraid of dominance.
And
Right.
actually, that subconscious fear
Yes.
is the one that is
I want us to
causing
take
the
now our
resistance.
final thoughts as we go, because I'm told we have very few minutes to go. I want to read your thoughts. Is there an end game? Do feminists have a target that this is what you want to achieve by this period? Is there an end game? What do feminists want to achieve?
The end game is ending of patriarchy system.
Will this ever end?
Where men and women are equal. Yes. In treatment, politically, economically, and socially. We don't have like a timeline. Yeah, we have principles that we follow that guide our practice and analysis of situations, and our end goal is end of patriarchy.
End of patriarchy.
Yeah.
Kirenga, I mean, where do you see the loopholes, the gaps that would not make it easy for this goal to be met?
There are always big gaps. If men don't realize and reflect on their privileges, if some women also don't come up to take up the space they are given by good policies and laws, for instance Rwanda and Sweden and others, there will be a big difference if, for instance, GBV, gender-based violence, is not tackled. There will be a lot of problems if women assuming that they are the victims, if they don't have equal access to resources, if they are not represented, yes, access and control and ownership and leadership, if you like, if they don't have access to decision-making positions, so there will be nothing. So men have, first of all, I agree with everyone that perhaps we need to deal with the patriarchy a lot, but patriarchy, the center of patriarchy is a family, and some families are headed by not men. Women could also be at the center of patriarchy to some extent, so it needs analysis, it needs constant monitoring, but it needs realization that we need to be. So we will stop the movement when we have equal societies, and I don't think that will happen very soon.
It will not happen very soon. Not quite optimistic. How about you, Sylvie?
First, I want to talk about the agenda. I wish I could stop being a feminist today.
Why?
If everything was all set for everyone, I could not even come in this show.
Sure.
So my agenda will not be, I will not stop being a feminist until everyone enjoys the same opportunities, the same rights, like, I mean, men and women. And as Annette said, we are not yet ready to stop. So I will stop when our culture will be fair to all of us. And I want to remind people to not be distracted by the number. When they are saying we have a high number, 64 women in parliament, but don't see the numbers. See what those numbers are doing. Don't look at only in parliament. Look at our CEOs. Look at our mayors. Look at our heads of village. Look at in the professional settings. How many women do we have there?
Right. But that's what the problem is with some people. They say, do you want them to have those positions just because they're women?
So we have to change the system. Look at how many women do we have in science. We have young girls really have been living with stereotypes, thinking that science is not for us. And parents have been really entertaining that. What I'm requesting them, it's more to see the ability, not the sex. A young girl is requested to go to serve the family, to serve food to the brothers. So until we have changed everything, we will not.
Can I comment on the numbers?
We are out of time, so that we can give Judy Kaila her space also to give us our parting remarks. Judy Kaila, when will you stop being a feminist? When what happens? Just very briefly,
never.
because we're going to go right now. Yes.
Never.
Feminism has healed me. Feminism has set me free. I have no way of not being a feminist. But I have to say two things before I leave. One thing is patriarchy is promoting women's empowerment, because patriarchy cannot afford not having women who do not work or not contribute into society. So we need to be careful when we talk about patriarchy's empowerment and women being free as women. Those are two different things. That's why whenever I see patriarchy promoting gender equality, I get scary. But the future is really right for women, because it's step by step. And what I see this generation is anger. And anger is the reason women can vote today. Anger is the reason women can go to school. Because if back then women were not angry, not go on the street to protest, I wouldn't have been able to go to school, even vote or even work.
Right.
So I'm grateful for that today.
Right.
And the future is really bright.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Judy Kaila. Always a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you so much, our panelists, also for making time to come over. Santeni Sana. I see Vanessa Rukundo saying something very interesting here. RB Rwanda now is not enough for In Focus. Please, don't you worry. I mean, probably we'll be able to find something to work out on that. Thank you so much. So many tweets have been coming through right here, particularly on this particular issue. We'll be able to see you again next time, same place and same time. The conversation continues on social media. Keep tweeting. The hashtag is In Focus RW, and of course we'll be able to keep responding and exchanging with each other concerning this particular matter. We'll see you again next time, same place. As always, my name is Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye for now.